there, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you enjoyed the interview Saturday. I know it was a big thrill for me to have Darlene on, and I hope everybody who got to see it really enjoyed it. So, today I'd like to talk about that first assignment. It can be really significant to students, and so I think if you use writing at all in your class, you should make an essay assignment, the very first day. And that first day assignment should be about expectations. What do students expect? So typically first day you go over course description and that sort of thing, and you go over classroom practices, all very useful. The thing that I think about making this assignment the first day is it sets a tone that's going to make it possible for you to take the class as seriously as you need to throughout the semester. Now generally students react kind of negatively to an assignment the very first day. They're like, what? The very first day? I thought this was just going to be kind of easing us into a get to know you. Yeah, it is get to know you because the expectation assignments is a 3-paragraph essay. The first paragraph should be about the student's expectations of the teacher. The second paragraph should be the student's expectations of the rest of the classmates. And the third paragraph should be the student's expectations of the self. If a student takes the time to write this essay, all sorts of wonderful things will happen. First of all, they're allowed to show their personality. I encourage them that if they're open and honest, that the writing should be open and honest about what they're expecting. If they tend to be hopeful, then they should be hopeful in what they're expecting. If they tend to be dismal, being dismal is okay. It's allowed in expectations. And certainly imaginative, thoroughly imaginative, fantasy even, is all acceptable in expectations, because really what's happening is I'm starting my relationship with that student for that class. I take up the essays the very next day. I go through with them how they need to format the essay that first day. And for me, in most of my time that I taught, I could accept either typewritten or handwritten work. There was one school, though, where every student was supposed to follow the Modern Language Association style sheet on every assignment that they wrote. So I taught them that format for this first essay. The next day when they brought it in, they would submit it. And one of the things I would have them do is put my rubric right on the essay itself so that I could put a grade on it. This helped remind them that there were 5 categories that were going to give them 2 points apiece for 10 points total. Then they would submit the essay, and I never let them submit their essays into my hands. I love things that are neat and tidy. I love things that are organized, but I am not by nature neat or tidy or organized. I'm more free-form. So having them follow a process for submitting their papers allowed me to keep track of things and keep things orderly. Then, that night, if I didn't grade it in front of them, and for a long time I didn't grade it in front of them, but that night I made time and I marked every single paper as if I were grading it for the class, and I made a comment on every single paper. Now, yes, that takes time, but I sincerely believe it's time well spent, because students learn about you by the way you respond to writing. And I wanted to encourage them to take my class seriously and to take themselves seriously, because I did. I wanted them to see, oh, she means it. So I would print out the attendance sheets. I would not fill out my paper grade book, which you know I love, until the add drop period was finished, and then I would fill it out because I liked it nicely arranged and color-coded and all that. But on the attendance sheet, I would record their grades, and if they turned it in the very next day, whatever grade they earned was turned into a 10 out of 10. That was encouraging to them, and I told them that. So the third time we met, I was returning those essays. This did two things. First of all, it gave them fast feedback, and fast feedback is very potent. We've already talked about how reading something in front of a student teaches them, but fast feedback is also important because if they're making an error and they see the mark, they're more likely to correct that error if they see it before they have to submit their next piece. The other thing it did was any student who didn't turn in the work went, "Ah! I have a 0 already?" Yep. I want them to understand that if they do not get after it on my work, there are going to be costs. Now, they were allowed to submit things late to me for up to a week, but they had to come in before school and read it to me. Read it to me, directly to me, so I could mark it in front of them, and so it cost them something. It cost them effort. It cost them time. And being late is expensive to the teacher's time, so it should be expensive to the student's time. I have to say, those expectations papers really did, I think, prevent a lot of students from being tempted to plagiarize later in the course. Because when they discovered that I dived in immediately, or dove in, I dove in immediately to that grading and returned that material and took their work seriously. When they discovered that, they were much less tempted to try to take dishonest shortcuts on later papers. Now they did, and I will talk about some of those dishonest shortcuts and ways that I tried to address them. But that first assignment, coming back quickly and being so valuable, I mean, if you think about it, they started that class with an A if they turned in their work in on time. How encouraging is that? That's wonderful. So that is what I recommend for you. Even if your class is something like history or what else other than history and English and math are there? Science, that's one. Home ec, that's a good one. I don't know about industrial arts, but still, if you require writing at all in your course, this is an excellent first assignment. And that's my short bit of advice for today. I hope you have a glorious rest of the day, and I hope I see you tomorrow when I'm discussing the value of notebooks. We'll see you then, you gorgeous people.